I add up the data, check out the score. I should play in the majors.
Pull up, like go in a bagel. And I came here with the walls. We came here to play though. Disco my amigos, disco my amigos, disco my amigos, disco my amigos. Pull up, like go in a bagel. And I came here with the walls. We came here to play though. Disco my amigos, disco my amigos, disco my amigos, disco my amigos.
Good morning. Oh, here it goes. The sound of the chains.
Call me Beth with the ace, yeah. Fizzle man with the face, yeah. Sexy beats call me.
Got a couple special guests in the house here today.
Devin Owens with the left hand. Shout out D Money from the West, man. E Mac, I'm the true boy. Yes, white Jesus, stay blessed, man. It's
Valarie and Nick Doss.
Name like everybody. Shout out Big Germ, Katrina Allen, Val Jenkins, Wysocki.
You hear your shout out right there?
That's awesome.
Didn't even know, huh?
Is that when you made it?
You know it.
Versace.
So, yeah, that song, it was about 4 years ago.
So I made it 4 years ago.
Yeah.
You made it a lot longer. You made it a lot longer before that.
You're getting rapped about. You know, I was going through the music, and I was like, whoa, he's throwing shout outs. I was like, oh, there's Val. That was pretty tight. Pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
Anyways, what's up, guys? You're tuned in to KPOV Bend. I'm Raider Mystic. This is one-on-one with Raider Mystic. I got Nate and Valarie Doss in the house. You know, a lot of this old stuff still has the Jenkins on it, so I always have to...
Yeah.
It's my professional name. So I won all my titles as Jenkins, so I just keep that in the sport of disc golf. But in reality, my alter ego is Valarie Doss. So I can blame one or the other if I get in trouble.
I like both of them.
Yeah. You know, they're both yours, so roll with it, right?
That's right.
But thanks for joining this morning. I really appreciate it. You know, I've done about this show for about 4 months, and leading up to every show, it's a whole new bag of what's going on. What do I got to figure out? Who are these people? Where we're at? Last week it was a Madras high school state team. That was a state basketball team.
Nice.
And I was like doing an interview with all of them at the same time.
Wow.
Which was
in this little room?
Not that,
okay.
That one was over the phone. Yeah. Hey, watch what you say about our room here. But it's cool. But and then, you know, I was mentioning how I had Kenny King, former Oakland Raiders, Super Bowl champion. But I honestly, you know, coming into this one without knowing you guys, we just met, and it feels much better. But I was like, dang, these guys are like the super duper champions of their sport, right?
Yep.
So I'm looking at the history here. Valarie, you have 4 world championships, right?
Yep, exactly.
And Nate, you have 3, right?
Yes, sir.
And beyond just that world championship, I mean, we're talking like titles left and right and games all over the place. I mean, it's endless, really, when I look at all the stats and all the things I've come across here. Do you guys ever argue about who has more world championships?
Well, there's no argument, but we stopped a little too soon.
Do the dishes. I have 4.
Exactly.
Well, when Val did win her 4th world championship, that broke the tie. We were tied for several years.
Oh, you were holding steady.
Yeah. So, and it was 2011 that I won my 3rd world title to tie Valarie. Valarie had won in 7, 8, and 9, and it was just cool. We were always on 3, but the thing about Val is, I had my career and whatnot, but Val is already in the Hall of Fame. She's one of the greatest women's disc golfers of all time. When you look at those stats on that page, it dwarfs whatever I did individually in her division. But it was just fun to be able to do, what we did together a lot, and even before we were even dating, we were always friends and we were always out on the tour together. So it's been, we at that time, we were basically the same age. I'm 1 year older basically. But, so we just kind of saw each other kind of rise together. It was 2005, I won my first world title. And then 2006, I finished in second. Val made the final 9 in that world championship. And then in 2007, of all the world titles we've won, 2007, we both won the same year.
Oh, okay.
So it was really, really cool. It was really fun that year. And at the time, we were just friends. And we were super excited for each other. And
a simultaneous
it was pretty cool.
world championship year.
Yeah. And that was Val's first world championship, and that was my second.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I had a brief lead there for a little while, and then she went on to win 7, 8, and 9, and yeah.
Yeah, and then again in 2016, we were actually had ambitions to move forward. We had ambitions to open our own craft brewery. And we were kind of making our way out, and I didn't know, how long we'd be playing the sport, and that was our kind of our last hurrah, our last world championships that we were committed to, and it came down to the last maybe 4 or 5 holes, and I ended up taking the world title, and so that's when I just notched above, and that was a great way to go out.
Okay, and was that is that when you guys kind of retired? When did you retire?
I mean, we officially retired. The last tournament that we played was the 2018 Zootown Classic, which was actually in Missoula, Montana. And the tour at that time was going from the West Coast, going to the Midwest. And that tournament was a little bit of a, kind of bridging the gap there before the tour really hit the Midwest in the summer, which is where the tour really is at that time. And we just thought, man, we got to get back to Bend, because we had actually gotten word while we were in Missoula that the city had given us our demo permit to start demolishing the building, the inside of the building, taking walls down and stuff of where our brewery is now located.
Yeah.
So we basically finished that tournament, and we jetted straight back to Bend. It's about a 10-hour drive, and got to work the next day. Yeah. And so that... There was no plans. We didn't even talk about retiring. We didn't even officially retire. We jumped into the next project, and that was that.
You said a 10-hour drive?
I don't know, 12. I don't know. Who knows?
I know Montana. You can drive fast.
We were ready to get home.
Yeah.
So maybe shorter.
Anyways, who knows? But retirement's a funny thing in an individual sport. Obviously, you play in a team sport, and you have to retire. You can't just step away for 3 years and you're on a team. The seasons and this and all. But, an individual sport's a little bit different. If Val and I wanted to sign up for a tournament, that was next week, we could do that. It's not as if we're not allowed to, or there's no team that we can play on.
Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah. People have asked a lot about
what, are you gonna drop in at some point and give it a go?
Once we started opening the brewery, and I knew all these little things and all the little responsibilities that go along with it, I knew that it would be that separation, and what you have to do to be a professional athlete and to be traveling every weekend, to have your body conditioned, have your mind in it. You have to be 100% committed if you want to win a tournament. And that's when we left. We were winning tournaments. We were at the top of our game. So it's a big hill to climb if you want to get back into that shape and get back to where your expectations are. And maybe they should be lowered, but that's where we left the sport, and that's where we would want to come back to be. And I don't think the time is allowing us to do that. So we're good where we are right now.
Cool. So being prepared mentally and physically is there any kind of pregame or during the sport things that you would do to try to be in shape?
Yeah, I mean, there's an off season, of course. Basically, the end of the season is about middle of October, and things fire back up in the end of February, beginning of March. And in that time frame, there's still tournaments going on, and players still play those tournaments. But a lot of it is just conditioning your body, elongating those muscles, working on flexibility, working on stamina. Because as soon as the season starts, it's just about playing every single day, or taking a day or two off a week. But as much as you can play, you're tightening that game up, right? Everything is millimeters, inches, whatever you want to say. But you have to just continue to hone that knife and hone it until everything starts to become natural. But the off season's about working on your body. And then during the season is really about managing your body and managing your mind, And your playing field, I like the playing field a lot. It's the great wide open, right?
Exactly. Courses out in nature and...
Yeah. It's outdoors.
Outdoors,
yes. Yeah. Yeah, just the sport itself is... the courses are built kind of with nature. Obviously, when a course is built, you have tee pads and baskets and fairways, and you have to trim branches and things. But most of disc golf courses are kind of built with the natural, architecture, basically. And so I really love that about it. You're always in a different park, in a different part of the country, different part of the world, and you just get to see different kind of natural formations. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and traveling for disc golf. We've been all over the world. I think we've been to 12 countries to compete in tournaments. And so, a lot of people go and they travel and they're tourists in the big cities. But we were able to be tourists in the cities, but then enjoy so much time out in nature and enjoying these courses that they had laid out and seeing the different trees and birds and just the
different geographic regions.
Yeah.
With the traveling, like in Japan.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were, in Japan, we actually played that tournament that happens there at that time was on a really nice traditional golf course that they had converted into a disc golf course. It was beautiful. It was up in the mountains, up above, in the Tochigi region of Japan. But it was monsoon season. There was a reason there was no golfers there. A reason we could use that course. And it just rained and it was humid, but it was still so much fun. Just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
You got baboons running through the course.
Literal baboons. Yeah. They steal your discs?
Thankfully, I've never had to deal with it.
No, me neither.
I wouldn't want to go near them.
You have to chase them off.
Yeah,
they chase
big.
you. No, they come after you, I think.
Don't look them in the eye. That's all I know.
I think I have. I think I've heard the story of a friend being chased by baboons and attacking their car.
Wow.
Somewhere.
Yeah, there were. The ones we saw were in big packs. It was like a big group of them. Like
they're big.
Yeah, and then there was like 30 of them, and they all kind of went running through. And then there was like the big one that was keeping an eye on everybody.
Well, I'm glad.
And everybody just gives them, give them a little space.
Glad you guys made it out of that alive.
Yeah.
The dangers of the sport.
And Sweden, I see Sweden on this one here for you, Val.
Yeah. We traveled to Scandinavia a ton for a while there. It was every other year. It was going between going to Scandinavia or going to Japan.
Finland.
Yeah. Finland is huge for disc golf. I think they have the most courses per capita.
Yeah, no question about it. So Scandinavia, just historically, has always had a really good connection with disc golf, whether it was those players traveling to the United States in the mid 90s and learning about the game or whatever. And I don't know the history of how it really got to grow there, but a couple individuals in those countries, Sweden and Finland, really pushed the game. And they have a lot of space there. These are beautiful countries, really northern countries. Yeah. Basically north of Canada even. The upper parts of their countries are inside the Arctic Circle. And we've actually played up there in the summertime where the sun doesn't go down.
Whoa.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and it is
endless summer,
bright as you can be, and you're playing disc golf. But Finland, in the last 10 years, has just exploded. Courses going in left and right, tons of players.
You get the Northern Lights.
I think so. I think they do. But we've never seen them while we've been up there. But yeah, Finland's super fun. Sweden, that whole Scandinavian region. I think we went there every single year for like 10 or 12 years.
Right.
Up into that area.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
And the Swiss Alps and stuff. That's where you're throwing discs?
No.
Anywhere in the mountains there?
Yeah, I don't know. We never went and played down in Central Europe at all, really. I mean, a little bit in Germany, a little bit. We played in Holland one year, the Netherlands. We did an event for Lipton Iced Tea. So Lipton Iced Tea is believe a Dutch company or corporate is from that area. And so we did this thing called the Lipton Cup. And it was Team USA versus Team
Europe. Team Lipton.
Yeah, it might have been Team Lipton. I think they were all Dutch. Anyways, that was super fun too. So that was in Rotterdam.
We won big, and we never got invited back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
And so, I think we should have made it a little more fair, and maybe it would still be going on.
You guys were like...
we laugh about that.
The Golden State Warriors of disc golf.
Yeah, at that time.
Like, okay, Steph Curry.
That's right.
We already seen you 6 times in a row.
Enough's enough.
Do you follow basketball at all? Do you have any interest in it?
I mean...
Are you a Warriors fan?
I mean, I would say Val is just a casual observer of my sports addiction.
Yes. All sports, all sports.
Yeah. As a kid, I just always dreamt of being sports. I was a huge basketball player in high school, was a successful basketball player in high school.
Okay.
And was a big Golden State Warrior fan. Back in the days, I had season tickets, and with me and my friends, we kind of split them all up. We all went to about, 15, 20 games a year. We'd drive up. I grew up in Santa Cruz, California. We'd drive up. And that was the days of like Antoine Jameson and Jason Richardson and Troy Murphy. And right about the time we moved up here to Central Oregon is right around the time Steph Curry was drafted. Yeah. Good. So I had season tickets for like 8 or 9 years. And in person, I saw less wins over 8 or 9 years than that they had in that record-setting season.
Right.
That they had in one season. So, love the Warriors. Steph Curry's awesome. Clay. The whole team is great.
Yeah, I was watching a Trailblazer Warrior game recently. Trailblazers are winning up by 20. That lead just shrinks. And then the crowd becomes electric, E40 in the front row. And I'm like, here we go. This is the loss.
That's right. That's the thing, man. Once they get rolling downhill, and they're going to, if Steph can find his range, and Clay specifically. I mean, Clay is the real big key to the success of that team, along with Draymond kind of doing his thing. Once they start going, it's hard to stop that. Yeah.
So you're from Santa Cruz.
Yep.
Valarie, did I see Ohio?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I grew up near Cleveland, Ohio, just south, about 30 minutes. Yeah, and so Nate and I, we both grew up in the sport of disc golf, but kind of opposite sides of the world. California was the originators. That's where most of the courses were. That's where the disc manufacturers were. That's where the inventor of the disc golf basket lived. So that was really like the heartbeat.
The inventor of the disc golf basket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His name was Steady Ed Hedrick.
Steady Ed. I read about him last night. Yes, Steady Ed.
So the crazy thing, Steady Ed went on tour and was traveling around and wanted to create more courses, wanted to install these baskets in as many states as possible. And lucky enough for me and my family, he came to our town. He installed the first course in Ohio in our town in Medina, Ohio, Roscoe Ewing Park. And by chance, my dad actually worked for the city, and so he had heard about this. Him and my mom, they were Frisbee players back in the day. They loved sports. They were athletic.
I thought we weren't supposed to say the word Frisbee. All right.
Uh-oh. Somebody got to pay for that. Sorry about that. Flying disc enthusiasts, let's say that. But so they heard about this course being installed, and they immediately went to go check it out. And pretty much from the first day, they were hooked. And so they got to meet people that were involved with that, more people like them. And sooner or later, they started playing tournaments. They started traveling around. And so my brother was about 8 years old. I was just born. So at a very young age, they were carting me around to courses and traveling around. So that's how I grew up in the sport. And yeah, very fortunate for that all to happen that way.
And I understand your mom was quite the thrower.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, my mom ended up winning 3 Masters World titles.
Yeah.
So that's in an age-protected division, 40 and over.
Okay.
So I got to see my mom competing as an athlete, as a professional athlete, and winning titles. So definitely a huge role model for me.
And your brother?
Yep. Yeah. So as a family, you know, we
Brother
travel
won a
around.
championship?
Yep, in 2009. So Nate and I won together in 2007. I won all by myself in 2008. But then 2009, yeah, my brother and I won. He won in a sudden death playoff.
Whoa.
Crazy, exciting. I mean, biting your nails. I was more nervous for him than I feel like I've ever been for myself. But yeah, he took down the title, and that is the first time a brother-sister had ever won together, and maybe ever will win.
Yeah,
So that was really, really cool.
I mean, obviously we don't know, but it was an incredible feat. I mean, for you guys to both be at your prime, yeah. I was there watching both of them in person, and yeah, it was an intense moment. It was huge for disc golf.
So, yeah, amongst all of you, your family, Valarie, Nate, do you have any, Nate, do you have any family discers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, the way my story unfolds is a little dissimilar to Val's, in that her, you know, Team Jenkins, the family of the Jenkins family, the 4 of them together, they're kind of an unstoppable, you know.
The squad.
Yeah, the squad, right? For me, it was my stepdad had seen, living in Santa Cruz, there's a really historical disc golf course there called De La Viega. And, you know, my dad, he had seen something on like public, we're talking on public radio right now, this was on public like PBS. And there was a little thing about this disc golf course. This was like in 91. And he said, I used to throw Frisbees in college. And my mom said, well, go check it out and take Nathan with you. I was 6 years old. Take him with you up there, wear him out, because that's what you want to do with a 6-year-old boy, right? Just get him tired,
Oh, yeah.
tucker him out so they'll go to bed.
Yep.
So that was kind of how it all started. And my dad, he was hooked immediately, like most people are. And he just got in with the people that were up there. And, you know, he would go up there all the time, and I would go with him, and I just started playing. And, you know, I'm just a little boy. And then my story is a little different in the sense that there's a tournament in Santa Cruz that happens every year called the Masters Cup, and all the best players in the world will come there. This was even in the 90s. Mm-hmm. You know, the Ken Klymos, the Barry Schultzes, these are the original goats of the sport, the best of the best. And I got to see them from a very young age and almost idolize these people. You know, basically going, oh my God, this is who I want to be. And from a very young age, I wanted to be a professional disc golfer. You know, at like 8 or 9 or 10, I'm already thinking this.
And it's not like any other sport where you're behind the ropes and you can't see these professional athletes. You can go right up to them. You can have them sign a disc. So you could be that little annoying kid asking them questions. Yeah. So Nate not only had a front row, but he had complete full access to these professionals.
Yeah, and then I was, you know, my dad was volunteering at the tournaments, and we were a part of the team that was helping run the tournament. And where Val and I's stories kind of cross over is with Steady Ed Hedrick. And Steady Ed Hedrick's company called the Disc Golf Association, DGA, they're in Watsonville, California, which is just about 20 minutes south. And my dad ended up getting a job working at DGA, working for Steady Ed. He was working in the warehouse, making the baskets, shipping out orders to courses all over the country. And I got to meet Steady Ed many, many times. And, you know, I was a little rowdy kid. And sometimes the principal of my middle school would ask me to not come to school for a few days, a.k.a. getting suspended. And I had to do something, so I would work at DGA. And so I would actually help do things to make the baskets. And Steady Ed Hedrick would pay me, just give me a Frisbee or a disc a day. And he would say, go, there's a big wall.
One disc a day.
Yeah. And it was really, really cool. Learned a lot there. And I've just been surrounded, and both of us, we've been surrounded by great people who have supported us in what they saw in us, which was they thought when we were young, these kids could be champions. And Yeah, just luckily it ended up being true.
Coming from the roots all around. You're helping out with the baskets.
That's right.
For your families. Yeah, it's a great story.
It's pretty cool.
And yeah, in case you don't know, we got the combined Valarie and Nate Doss in the studio, both world championship disc golfers with a combined 7 world championships. Do you, off the top of your heads, do you guys know how many titles you got?
So I think mine is 43, but that actually includes
43 titles.
Yeah, that includes some amateur titles, and I did both Valarie and I. It's one of those things where you say 7 world titles. It's actually 9 because Valarie and I individually won junior world championships. Now these are in the amateur division, not professional.
Okay.
The juniors are considered amateur. But we both won those individually separate years as well. But I think it's 43. I don't know. Val's is in the hundreds. Hers is ridiculous.
Yeah, I normally if I'm talking to somebody and I can just like, oh, you got 3 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Hey, what was your career rushing yards? Like, those things.
But I got all these pages here. I got piles of stats.
Well, you said, can you just send me some of your accolades? I was like, here's a Wikipedia page. It's going to tell you more than I can tell you. But Googling it, I got 120 career wins.
There you go.
I think 16 major titles. Major elite titles.
Yeah, major elite titles for Val. And again, I'm just so proud of Val. Obviously, my wife, my best friend, all that stuff. But a couple years ago, she was inducted to the World Disc Golf Hall of Fame. And she was the youngest inductee. And as a woman, it was completely deserved. Just, again, one of the best players of all time.
And I also saw, Val, that, I've seen some videos out there, promoting women to get into the sport and really pushing it and helping with that and being like a chairwoman on the committee.
Yeah, exactly. The PDGA Women's Committee. I was a chair of that. And so the Hall of Fame, they recognize those ambitions that I had to push the sport of disc golf for women. And there were many years of my career where I was fighting for that recognition. I, at one point, had won as many titles as you could in the sport. I'd won all the major tournaments in a year, and I still wasn't being treated the same as the men that had won much less than me on any given sponsorship team. And, you kind of just went with the flow. You went with what the women did in front of you. And as soon as I started winning as many titles as them, I realized I had a voice. And it wasn't, I'm trying to censor myself, but I can't think of any other words, but it was crap. I was thinking, this is just, it's not right. It's messed up. Somebody needs to speak up. And so finally, when I got that platform and that showcase, I spoke up. And I knew that being on that mountaintop and looking down and realizing, there was so much more, I didn't want any other women behind me to follow in my footsteps and realize that, Val didn't say anything and she was here before me. So that's what fueled me. And now we're seeing the sport. It has the biggest divisions of women that we've ever seen. It's continually growing. And I'm so proud to see where the sport is today.
Well, kudos to you and congratulations on your spirit to push that and bring ladies into the game.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we pretty much live by a standard saying, which is we want to leave everything better than we found it. I remember being 15 years old. When I turned professional, I was 14. I just won the Junior World Championship, turned pro. And I remember even then saying to my mom and dad, I just want to leave this game better than I found it. And, that's really what we live by. We're still doing that to this day. We do the commentary with the Disc Golf Network. We utilize all of the experiences that we have to commentate in a way that gives people an insight to what's going on in those people's minds. And in my mind, I'm just saying, how can I continue to make this sport better? How can I continue to make this sport grow to where I ultimately view it? And Val did that, the whole situation with fighting for women's rights and asking for equal pay, or at least more proportional than it was, people now are taking advantage of that. And it's really, really cool to see, and they deserve it. Mm-hmm. They're working really, really hard. The thing you can argue, not to get too far off on a tangent, I'll make it quick. It's, you say, well, the women's division is, say, 50 women, and the men's is 150. Well, it's harder to beat 150 than 50. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You're doing the same amount of work. You still have to play 18 holes. You still have to you have to beat and compete against the best players in the world. You're doing the same job. It doesn't really matter how many, whether it's 4 or 200. If you're the best and you're going to go up against the best, that's the job that needs to be done. So I think Val did that beautifully. The women are certainly taking advantage of it now, deservingly so, and so are the men. The men's side of the sport has grown leaps and bounds. We now have 3 players who have received $1 million a year contracts, which, I never saw that coming. I mean, of course, I hoped it would happen, but, I didn't think it was going to happen so quick. So it's pretty cool, man. When we stepped away, the sport was where it was, and it's continued to grow, and we're just super happy for it.
And Disc Golf Channel.
The Disc Golf Network.
Tell me a little bit. The Disc Golf Network.
Yeah.
Okay. In case you don't know, there's a Disc Golf Network.
Yep.
I saw the subscription was like $12.99 a month or something like that. And I know you guys both do commentating, or is it just...
No, we both do it.
You both do it?
Yeah, so... basically, well, first of all, if you want to come watch the Disc Golf Network, you can come over to Bevel, which is our brewery here in Bend. We have one TV that is dedicated to just playing the Disc Golf Network, basically 24 hours a day. I figured,
24/7.
Yeah, when we were thinking about Bevel, we always wanted to have a TV that was playing YouTube videos or whatever.
Let me break in real quick and just let them know, in case... Another thing that's going on here, he's mentioning Bevel. This is your brewery here in town.
Yep.
Bevel Craft Brewing.
Yes, sir.
And these two opened it, and it's been how many years?
So we started Demolition Everything 5 years ago alongside getting involved with the Disc Golf Network. But Bevel has been officially open...
almost 4 years to the day. Pretty close.
Exactly.
And it's kind of back off of
9th Street.
9th Street.
Yep. Just to the south of Bend High on 9th, on the east side of the road.
Okay.
Yep.
And you got food. I saw some updates from St. Patty's Day yesterday.
Yeah. We got 4 food trucks, a tap room, indoor outdoor seating. It's very Central Oregon in that sense.
And I got to mention before you get more into the network, I also saw that you got the Brewer of the Year award voted. Hold on.
3 years?
Why are you doing this 3-peat thing?
Is it 3? Yeah.
Yeah.
3 world titles, 3-time Brewer of the Year.
3 times?
Yeah.
People's Choice.
I saw on
It's a People's Choice with the Source magazine.
Yeah. I saw the 2020.
Yeah, and then 21 and then last year as well.
Okay. Just a 3-peat, huh?
Yeah, and, first of all, I'm very flattered. I absolutely... one of the things... I love brewing, but one of the things about what made us so successful as athletes is one of the reasons that we hope makes us successful in our own venture in Bevel. We give everything we have. We live and breathe and die what we're doing, and that's all I do in the brewery. I mean, I still brew beers to this day. I still work in the brewery 5 days a week. In fact, before we came here, we had to stop by the brewery. I had to check on one of the beers. I had a brewer that was working with me, Mitch Gerard, who just left, and we have a new brewer that's working with me, Curtis Nelson, and we love being in that beer industry, and we're constantly learning. But the Brewer of the Year thing is just very flattering, and it really just shows you shows me how much support I have in what I'm doing, and that people appreciate how hard I work and our whole team works. Bevel is a team. It's not one individual like playing disc golf, which is an individual sport. It's a whole team. You got the bartenders, you got Val doing the merch and the marketing, I'm brewing, our business partner Justin's managing all of these things going on as well. So, yeah, it's a great place. We certainly love it, and you'll probably see us around there if you come by.
So now that you know that he's the brewer of the year 3 years in a row, and they got their own brewery, we can get back to the Disc Golf Network.
Yeah, that's right. The DGN.
But of course, Bevel is all disc golf themed. That's actually where the name came from, describing the edge of the disc. That's what allows it to fly through the air, is that beveled edge.
Bevel. I freestyle rap.
Yes, sir.
And one of my go-tos, I always like, keep the bevel level, is something I've always said.
Nice.
So
keep the bevel level. That's right. That's a good flight path.
Yeah, it's a good disc golf tip. But yeah, so we started doing demolition on the building that we're currently in, and we've been in 5 years ago. And at the same time, we were approached with the leader of the Disc Golf Pro Tour at the time, and he wanted to bring more attention and bring more media to what the disc golfers were doing, and wanted to bring live coverage to the course. And so Nate and I, of course, we want to be involved in the sport. We want to give back as much as we can. And so we said, yeah, we're in. We're extremely busy. We've never been, this was us creating Bevel and figuring out what we're doing with our own business. But yeah, we'll help out with disc golf as much as we can. And all of a sudden it fell on our shoulders. We were the only 2 commentators available, and we still said, yeah, we will dedicate 8 hours a day, so 4 hours covering the women's show, then another 4 hours in the afternoon covering the men's show and the men's round.
That's a workload.
Yeah.
And then we'd run over to Bevel and, install paper towel dispensers and help the plumbers with the sinks or, painting the walls. So we were biding our time and sharing our time with all that, but it was worth it. And that's kind of how we got started. It wasn't the easiest path of being on live and having to share the air for that long and talk that long about disc golf. But now we're 5 years in, and whole team behind us and producers talking in our ear and having commercials, and there's more money behind it, so it makes things run smoother. And now there's a whole slew of commentators helping us through the season, and it's been a really fun, wild ride. And yeah, that's what's helping disc golf grow. More eyes on it.
So when's your next live?
Great question. So actually, actively, as we're sitting here right now, there's the Open in Austin.
I saw that,
which is a Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series that is being covered live. There are 2 main commentary teams, so the other commentary team is covering the show this weekend, and then there's a few smaller events which we call the Silver Series on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. And our next live show is, I believe, mid-April. And it's the first major of the year. It's called the Champions Cup, and that will be broadcasted live on the Disc Golf Network. That event will happen in Augusta, Georgia, just outside Augusta, Georgia, and it's the first major of the year, so we're super excited about that. The thing about the Disc Golf Network, when Val was explaining that we started doing this live commentary thing, this was actually before the Disc Golf Network really existed. It was we were trying everything, just trying to get eyes on it. We were giving it away. It was being streamed on YouTube for free. We just wanted people to watch disc golf live. And we had people that were committed to putting literally every single penny into it to make it work. And there's a lot of technology that goes into it, and that technology fails. And people are so used to watching. I'm just going to use the biggest example in golf, which is the Masters, which is a multi-billion-dollar operation, and you have hundreds of people working on it. Disc golf was a dedicated group for the disc golf live stuff of like 12 people, and they were just traveling, sleeping on floors, doing whatever they had to do. Grassroots, and the guy, his name was Steve Dodge, and he started the Disc Golf Pro Tour. He started live coverage, and ultimately the Disc Golf Pro Tour was sold to another guy who was very dedicated to disc golf, and then a whole group of people. And that's really where things really started to change over. And then, COVID did happen, and people were locked at home, and they found this game, disc golf that was out in nature, as we talked about at the top of the show, and inexpensive and away from other people, and you could really be spread out. I think golf even made a resurgence at that point as well, and a lot of people found disc golf, and boom. So we kind of, there's a lot of people that don't even really know in the sport of disc golf who Val and I are. You've probably heard of our names, and certainly we do the commentary, but there's so many people that are just coming in and they know the Paul Macbeths and the Paige Pierces and the, Missy Gannons and all these great superstars now. And so that's what our job is to do, is to support them, give those people that are just new in the sport, watching the Disc Golf Network, that insight and understanding what those players are going through. That's our job. And it's taken 5 years to kind of get, I'm not even going to say good at it, decent at it. Doing live commentary is very, very difficult.
You sound good. I like it. I'm going to have to tune in. And
please do.
I might even have to become a member. But I'll definitely come down to Bevel, too. And I'm sure I could watch it while you guys are live. Coming
absolutely.
From the outer universe. Through that television right there.
That's right.
So this year, you can actually watch the first round of every tournament for free on YouTube.
Okay.
So that's where you can kind of get your taste, and then you really get addicted. But yeah, they save the final rounds, and as the pressure's building and the tournament gets more intense, you got to pay for those. But yeah, it'll give you a glimpse on what we're doing, and yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to see these shows. This tournament's happening in Georgia in a couple of weeks, but we actually do everything from here. We base it out of Bend. We have a studio set up at our house. Everything is satellite from where our producers are to the cameras on the course. Everything is just, it's amazing how everything's remote and everything seems to work on time. But of course, technology's not perfect, but it's fortunate we get to work from here.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a cool way to do it. I got to give a shout out to my coworkers, Marshall and Bobby, because Marshall's the one that directed me towards you guys, and are really actively having fun playing disc golf and taking kids from the school to get out on the courses too, and pushing them to go get some fresh air and try to enjoy the sport. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, with young people as well, and people that are struggling in different aspects of their life, sometimes just having something to be dedicated to can change everything. I mean, I was explaining earlier how, I was making a joke, but, asked not to come to school for a few days. But disc golf always kind of steered me back, and sports really did steer me back a lot of the times. And we just support any youngster that wants to play disc golf. Give it a try. I think what it does is it gives you an opportunity to be a kid, obviously, but you still have to learn a little bit of maturity. You got to keep score. You got to stay behind your disc when you throw. There's a little bit of rules that you have to follow, and I think that's also a good thing. But you can still just have fun, and you can, be out in nature, and that was a huge thing for me. Like I said, my story started with my mom saying, "Go wear Nathan out." Yeah. And that's been happening for over 30 years now.
The open space and the fresh air is a cool thing. I really enjoy that myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you said, during the COVID years, being able people to go do that. And I know just a few weeks ago, I had a really awesome fisherman on the show too.
Oh,
and
nice.
We were talking about fishing and during those times, and
100%.
Something to do and get out.
Yeah.
Get the fresh air.
Disc golf is absolutely a lifetime sport. Nate's talking about getting young kids into playing it, but my mom, she's still actively playing. She plays more than we do these days, and she's involved with the Central Oregon Disc Golf Club. She live
here?
She lives here in Bend. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she's out on the courses. She's helped maintaining the courses here.
And did she grow up in Ohio?
Grew up in Ohio, yeah.
Okay, I was watching a couple of videos of her last night, and I caught a little bit of an accent, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Ohio? Yeah. That's Ohio?
Cleveland.
Is that
Cleveland.
Yes.
Cleveland, like the true Cleveland. I was like, it kind of sounded a little Michigan-y, or I don't know. from a West Coast boy, I caught something there.
Yeah.
That's all.
It says them Polish neighborhoods in Cleveland.
But yeah, I saw her pushing it. and she had a lot of good words to say. So
yeah, Sharon is
kudos,
she's a true Hall of Famer in her own right as well. And as Val said, she's still giving back. She's on the board of directors for the nonprofit that is the Central Oregon Disc Golf Club. She runs a juniors tournament. She just loves it, just getting kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this last year we had over 40 kids from around Central Oregon playing over at the Inn at the 7th Mountain. It's going to happen again this summer, and it's just fun. We're there. We did like a little throwing clinic, and it's just, again, the future of any sport is kids. And getting them involved and giving them that opportunity.
Oh yeah, you meet somebody like you that gives them a couple pointers that could change their life.
Yeah,
like you end up at a football game, and you might be a diehard Raider fan the rest of your life.
That's right.
You never know.
I mean, that's
is that what happens?
yeah, no question. And yeah, go ahead.
I came across something also, Nate. Have you seen this video inside the mind of Nate Doss at all?
I haven't.
So somebody on YouTube took your own commentary to your own shots.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I think I've seen clips of it. I never watched the whole thing. I think it was a young guy. It was Silas Schultz that put that together.
Yeah. It was all in love.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the thing.
He gave you a shout out.
I'm an intense person. I mean, I always dreamt of being an athlete, and when I do my commentary, sometimes it gets away from me a little bit. I mean, being the best commentator that you can be is kind of the economy of words and understanding how to guide people. I mean, we're really guiding people through the round, but I can just get intense, and it's like, oh baby, here we go. Get around the, you want to see it.
That's what it is. I mean, you watch any of this NCAA stuff right now. I mean, every play by play, it's like, oh, this is like the greatest shot you've ever seen.
Yeah,
but
it's natural. It's natural to get excited.
But yeah, and I didn't hear anything over the top on that little clip either. It was just normal commentary.
Yeah.
I myself have announced the semi-pro football games here.
Oh, cool.
And high school basketball varsity games and stuff like that. So,
So you do that on the radio? Or is it like a live stream?
I did color commentator for some high school football here.
Okay.
For the Ben Lava Bears a few years back when they used to have sports talk radio. There's no sports talk radio at the moment in Bend at all.
Oh, boy.
This is the only sports talk radio show in the whole city right now. Wow. There used to be two stations, Fox and KBND used to do something, but nothing at the moment. Used to have Trailblazer games you could listen to even, but they don't broadcast those. One Prineville station broadcasts Trailblazers, and sometimes if you hit the dial right, you can get it. But with the smartphones and all the apps, you can just tune in anywhere. Something else that I came across, and co-worker Marshall showed me, was the Holy Shot, right?
Yes.
So this dude with the ponytail, big shot. Did that shot win that game, or was it?
No,
So lay it out for us.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard of it, this is one of the greatest things that's ever happened in sports, not just in disc golf. It's the true bottom of the ninth type of story. So Paul McBeth is regarded as one of the greatest players of all time. He is, a multiple-time world champion, and he had 5 world titles, and he was going for his 6th. And this was in 2021. We were in Ogden, Utah, which is where the world championships were being held. Final round, last few holes, Paul McBeth's in the lead. This guy, James Conrad, who is a great player in his own right, is making a late charge, and McBeth's kind of holding him off. It's really tight, getting very, very intense. And McBeth had made a mistake on the 17th hole, and Conrad got within one shot. One shot, one hole to play is a very difficult par 4 here on the 18th. James Conrad throws his tee shot. He had to go over water. He almost goes OB, which had he gone OB, it would have been over. McBeth could have just laid up, played very, very safe. Stays in bounds. McBeth does play safe, puts himself in position. James Conrad is about 280 feet out from the basket. Basket is surrounded by out of bounds. There's a massive crowd, and it's literally that explanation. One final shot. If this shot doesn't go in from 280 feet, which that doesn't happen all that often, it's over.
The Hail Mary.
The literal Hail Mary.
Yeah.
And Conrad puts this shot up, this turnover, and it looks like it's going in, but no way.
Could go
no way. No way. Oh, and there it goes. And then there it is. The shot is made.
Erupts.
Oh my! It was insane.
He's running down the course.
We're doing commentary.
You were commentating that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me, myself, Ian Anderson, and Philo Brathwaite. We were a 3-person team during the Worlds, and we were going nuts. I had to reach over and hit the mute button because we were just screaming so bad, and then we just wanted to let and the crowd noise was just insane.
People are flying off the bleachers. There was so much energy toward that shot, and there's no security. There's no police holding these people. Like, they couldn't control themselves. They were so just minds blown. But that shot puts it to a playoff.
They go to the very first playoff hole, which was an island hole. It was a downhill island shot with water long. And James Conrad had gotten a hole-in-one on this hole earlier in the tournament. Incredible hole-in-one in the world is amazing on its own right. So he really had that hole dialed. And Macbeth had trouble on that hole. Macbeth throws his shot out of bounds long in the water. Conrad puts it right in the green and was able to just lay up and walk away with his first world title. And he stopped Macbeth from winning his 6th. Fast forward 1 year later, last summer in Emporia, Kansas, Macbeth did finally go on to win his 6th world title in a playoff on an island hole. You can't even make this stuff up. You would need a Tom Clancy novel to even make this stuff up, and that's what sports are. It is the perfect drama without all the drama, right?
Okay.
And that's why I love sports.
Yeah. There's constant moments.
That's right.
Like, how did we end up here?
I'm still getting excited. It still makes me flush. How cool of a shot that was. Yeah. And it just rippled throughout the sport. And
it was all over. It was the sports moment of the day on ESPN that evening. It was a cultural
Which brings
phenomenon.
more love to the sport.
Yes.
When you see that excitement too, and you're like, oh. It's that moment that the 3-pointer at the buzzer kind of deal. And
the bottom of the ninth, bases loaded. It happens.
Yeah,
and in this case, we just had it covered with 20 cameras. These stories have
I've seen
happened.
all the different angles.
Like a guy listening to this right now. Back in 1991, could have had a sick finish in some tournament that he was playing in Kenosha, Wisconsin, but it wasn't on camera. It's one of those audio stories where you just tell it and it just travels along. This James Conrad holy shot, it'll be in the ether forever.
And I showed it to my kids, and the first thing one of my kids said, "What was this guy without his shirt on with the American shorts on?"
Yeah.
And so now we fast forward. I'm looking at your website, and I see that you actually have a beer coming out.
Well, we did. We released it last year.
Okay, it was last year.
Yeah, you're probably reading the blog post from last year.
Yeah,
we worked with James.
Yeah. And it's got the dude with the shirt off running down the course on the little image right there.
Yeah, I want to be very clear to everybody listening out there. Disc golf is very professional. That in my opinion is still a beautiful moment. That guy he was overjoyed with excitement.
Yeah. It's like the whole crowd's energy was in that guy at that moment.
And if you actually look, so we did work with James Conrad last year. We released the beer at the Portland Open, which is the biggest disc golf tournament that happens in the state of Oregon. And we have, Bevel's a big sponsor, and you can come spectate. That's actually another thing that if you're into disc golf, come over to the Portland Open and buy a ticket, watch the final round in person. It's really incredible to watch these guys and girls throw as far as they do.
Do you know when that is?
Yes, I believe it's the very first weekend in June, and we'll be there. Bevel will be there as a sponsor. You can get beer on the course and watch, just like any sporting event. I mean, this is the beauty. Disc golf is growing to where you can just be a spectator and watch these things happen in person. But we work with James. James is a great guy, and if you look on the can, there's actually a little tiny bird, and this is one of those like. Kind of, you got to go deep on this one, conspiracy theory. When you look at the video, you see this bird slightly swoop towards the disc. It doesn't touch the disc that we know of, but that bird maybe had something to do with it going in. Yeah, you never know.
Months later, like you would make eye contact with a disc golfer, and it was like, where were you when the shot went in? And, what did people see? How did you feel?
The bird.
All these things. Yeah.
we had
something the stars were aligned and the sun was just perfect. The bird was just right there.
Bird.
We had, we have security cameras at our business, and there was a massive group of people there watching it live on the Disc Golf Network in the brewery.
Okay.
And, everything's kind of calming down because at that time it was kind of like Macbeth's going to win his sixth. There's no way this Conrad guy is going to make this shot. And all of a sudden you just see all the people in there go, whoa! And there, it went in and the whole tap room just went berserk. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
That's fun. The sports. I know with my own kids, plays basketball for Mountain View. Every single JV game this season was like a 1-point ending.
Oh, boy.
It went both ways. And he hit a game winner, had a chance to make a game winner, didn't go in, hit a game winner.
What position?
Up and down. He's a shooting guard.
Yeah, like a 2 kind of thing. Yeah. I love basketball. I coached it for 8 years as well. Coached high school basketball down in California.
He's got a shot.
That's beautiful.
And we're looking forward to the future with all that stuff. And then the younger guy plays soccer.
Nice.
And he's on the travel timber squad in 4th grade.
Wow. Awesome.
It's a lot of work.
I was going to say tiring.
It's a lot of work, guys, if you're listening. But we all in. So we just have a couple minutes left, man. There's so much more I wanted to talk about, too, which is, how it works here. But let's just kind of touch on Central Oregon. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any fingers in any of the courses or have you designed anything or thought about that, or where do you like to play? All kinds of questions.
So the main course it's an 18-hole course. It has tee pads. It has baskets. It's called Pine Nursery Disc Golf Course. You can find it out at Pine Nursery Park. That's our main one in town. You can also find all the courses on the Central Oregon Disc Golf Club page. We love In at 7th Mountain. It's a fun, beautiful course, grassy, big trees. And we're actually going to help install some paver tee pads there this summer. Yeah, Nate and I are going to get dirty, help my mom, who is kind of forefronting that operation. But yeah, we're trying to give back to the sport now that we have a little bit more time. And I want to see it grow here.
The really cool thing, and if you're anywhere in Central Oregon, pretty much in your town, whether it's Madras, Redmond, Prineville, Lapine, or Bend, there is a disc golf course with baskets. And you just got to go to Disc Golf Course Review or UDisc and find that course and go and play it. And that's the really cool thing about disc golf, is that you don't have to set a tee time. You don't have to have a bunch of fancy equipment. You can just go out and play. And that is really the beauty of disc golf. For free.
Most places.
For the most part, and there are more courses growing of pay to play. But disc golf is a beautiful thing. It's, I always say it's Val and I will be disc golfers for the rest of our lives, no matter what we do. It's ingrained in our lives.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Maybe you can come back again sometime. But you got like your own signature discs and stuff like that. Yeah. I
movies. There was movies made about us.
Oh my gosh, there's a movie.
Hey, and I just want to say we're listening to this song right now. And Revolution is an amazing band. But big shout out to Wes Finley, who's the drummer in that band. Huge disc golfer. He's actually a sponsored disc golfer and plays in tournaments. And he's a great dude. If you haven't heard of him, come check him out.
Rastafari out.
That's right.
Cool. Yeah, and these guys are also just happen to be connected with the Revolution here, the music in the background. So we all love the music.
That's right.
Music moves us. Well, thanks.
Thank you, man.
For joining me.
This is super fun. Really appreciate it.
Valarie and Nate Doss. We just upgraded from 7 world championships to 9.
That's right.
Because we're adding the junior championships. And that's it, guys. You guys have a good day. We'll come check you out at Bevel. Peace out.